right, so I want to just welcome everyone. Just have a seat if you're just joining us. Thanks for being here. I want to quickly welcome you, and then I'll pass. I'll let the dean welcome you. But I just want to acknowledge that we are in this beautiful space, the Catalyst, and I want to just emphasize the help that we've received in setting up this event. So everyone in the Catalyst, thanks so much for making this happen. Big day, we're finally here. Very exciting news, very exciting stuff to talk with you today. And so, well, I will just hit the first clip. Sorry, yep. Just 1 second. Sound? Can you start it from top, Jackie? No sound.
It's going in our blooper reel. It's going to go in our blooper reel.
That's it. Can we get more?
Our faculty is building the leaders of the future, the creators, the business people, the production people, the storytellers of the future of live entertainment. So we, like Cirque du Soleil, feel that we are preparing people for a global stage. And so the idea of working with this prominent Canadian international brand that has excelled for so many years globally as a live entertainment star is fantastic for us.
So what's interesting with FCAD is that we have people who are on the forefront of the academic world, and sometimes they may have something really cool that they're working on, but they don't know that they're actually an industry application that could be really exciting for us, and so really exciting for our audiences. And so I think that bridging those two worlds together can open up a world of exciting possibilities.
It's almost like overwhelming, like the amount of resources that an academic environment like Ryerson could provide, right?
In the digital space, we have all kinds of new technologies, whether it's gaming technologies, new graphics techniques, new machine learning techniques, AI-driven things, and all of that stuff, if you can merge it with live performance context, has lots of potential to be kind of interesting and creative pieces. And these are things that have been experimented with in a smaller way, on a much smaller scale, by artists and scientists and researchers over decades now. But I think partnering with Cirque du Soleil and a place like FCAD, we can really actually realize this on a larger scale.
I was very inspired when I went for my visit at FCAD last summer, and I felt there was so many really high level in all the different disciplines that I saw, that for me it's kind of like a playground. I'd like to explore all of those different areas, not really limit myself to one at the moment, because they all were quite inspiring to me.
People in the university setting have a little bit more freedom in looking at things in a broader sense of it without a very hard target date, and that allows them to go a little bit more crazy, a little bit more wild, a little bit more open.
Avoir un costume qui va, on en a tout gagné, d'avoir un costume qui a des mécanismes qui bougeaient, comme la robe de Louisiane, la robe blanche de Louisiane, d'avoir des LED qui bougent, des lasers, ça c'est un truc que j'aimerais faire.
The magic of that combination could come up with innovative ideas that really are totally out of the box, out of the FCAD box and maybe out of Cirque du Soleil's box. So who knows what will come out of it.
So when our team went over to Ryerson, we started brainstorming. We asked ourselves, well, what could we do together? And then we realized, well, actually, what couldn't we do together? And the problem we have is that there's too many interesting topics. So we'll have to pick and choose, but we're really excited to be joining on this adventure and seeing what's going to come up next.
Hello, everybody. Bonjour, messieurs, mesdames. Bienvenue à Toronto. Bienvenue à Ryerson et Faculté de Communication et Design. We are very, very happy that you are here with us today. We are very excited about everything that we are about to do and that what our imagination will set us off to do. Today we're here to celebrate the launch of Folie. And let's just start with that for a minute. Why did we call this new wonderful thing Folie? Not because we're all mad, but because we are mad with imagination, with the potential of what our creativity can do, with the potential of things that can happen when you're not boxed in, when you're able to take the best that your minds and the minds of the future allow you to become. We are here because we're dedicated in this faculty to innovative research that has impact, that connects with audiences in Canada and around the world, that actually takes the talent of the creative era that we are developing and opens up to them frontiers by those who have set the ways to be pioneers and talent, organizations such as Cirque du Soleil. I cannot tell you how meaningful this is to everything that we stand for here at Ryerson and at FCAD. I cannot tell you, first of all, how appreciative I am, first with Louis Etienne, whose inspiration and whose imagination and whose desire to do great things has gotten this all started in the first place. So thank you, Louis Etienne. Let's just have a round of applause for Louis Etienne Debois. As a faculty member of our School of Creative Industries, Louis Etienne just exemplifies the special nature of the teams we have here, the kind of talent we bring in here. The other thing, though, is to have an organization like Cirque du Soleil. So let's just pause for a second. Cirque du Soleil, arguably, is Canada's leading cultural icon on a global scale. Everybody in the world knows Cirque du Soleil, right? And has been right from the start an organization that took design and creativity and audiences and the inspiration of what that means to a place that has been both successful, both with audiences, but also industrially and in the field of live event. Now we have here in this faculty, in this place called Catalyst, which happens to be at a crossroads of all sorts of disciplines and all sorts of creativity, and it is a metaphor for what we're trying to do, which is to say, nah, you're not just a designer, you're not just a journalist, you're not just a digital person, you're not just that. You are actually all of those things, and you're also going to be something that you don't even know what you're becoming. That's what Cirque du Soleil represented to us as an organization, something that nobody quite got when it was starting and became bigger than life. And we think all of our students have that potential. What better way to do that? Through a partnership with the best of the best. And I think that for FCAD, as a faculty that is really in an international stage, having impact and telling its students, you can become bigger and better, even before we start the partnership with Cirque du Soleil is an inspiration. Even before we've done anything, the fact that we're doing something at all is enough to make people dream of bigger and better things. Now imagine what's going to happen, not just here, but in our labs, in Montreal, in other places with the partnerships. I can only wait to hear and see what that's going to amount to. So as the heart of creative industries in Toronto, we believe we are the future of all areas of creative industries because our students are the best of the best here. On a global stage, we are delighted to be working with this incredible company that is at the heart of creativity and success for Canada at large on a global scale. So thank you very much for being our partners and for choosing us, and we're really honored. So thank you. I'm going to move on. The research and development, whether it's creative development, whether it's understanding audiences, whether it's understanding the impact it has on society, whether it's understanding industry, research and development is truly integral to a university life. It's what happens in universities. It's what we're supposed to be doing, is pushing the envelope. And that is something that is important in all fields, but it's sometimes taken for granted in areas of creativity, in areas of art, in areas of entertainment. Well, we at FCAT and we at Ryerson do not take that for granted. And that is why we are so excited about this partnership. It's also a lot due to the fact that we hire the best talent, but beyond that, that we have great leadership at this university. And I'm pleased to introduce now the Vice President of Research and Innovation of Ryerson, Stephen Liss.
Well, thank you. It's hard to follow that very inspiring and clear message of what this partnership represents in the video and in Charles's comments. And so perhaps what I can say is, well, first of all, welcome and thank you, but the intent to be bold and visionary, the desire to be there and to be at that precipice looking out and beyond and reaching out and beyond requires us to test bizarre ideas and push the boundaries and to go really where no one else has really gone. And I see a lot of that reflected in FCAT's trajectory, particularly over the last 2 years since I've been back here in Toronto and at Ryerson. And it's really exciting to see the faculty and students who are drawn here and to spaces like this at the Catalyst, which really represents an opportunity for collision and interdisciplinary engagement, but also really pushing that boundary and defining new areas of exploration and answering or posing questions and trying to find solutions and ideas to things that perhaps we had never given thought to before. In the area of creative design, production, and the creative arts, it's really particularly important that we not only work within the university, but extend ourselves broadly into the community that hopefully receives and benefits from the work that we do, but also to the types of partners that are also pushing the boundaries of excellence and distinguishing themselves globally. And so, frankly, from my perspective, it's only natural that FCAT and Cirque du Soleil would come together and at some point in time to work together. And so it's absolutely delighted to see this partnership unfold. So to Charles's team and to the Cirque du Soleil team and collaborators, this is a phenomenal opportunity for the university, but it's also a phenomenal opportunity to support the training of the next generation of innovators and leaders. And that is reflected in the students who come here, both as undergraduates and graduate students. And this is really also what university does. It's important that we are at the forefront of research, but it is the platform that supports the development of the next generation of innovators. And as Charles has indicated, partnerships and collaborations are so important to the way in which Ryerson undertakes its work and engages broadly and more importantly, more globally than perhaps what we have done historically in the past. And this is really reflective of that next trajectory for Ryerson. And so it's absolutely a delight to be here and to be able to celebrate with all of you on this wonderful launch for Folie. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. So I want to introduce a special guest who will be with us during the panel. So I want to introduce Diane Quinn, who is the Chief Creation Officer at Cirque du Soleil, Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group. She oversees the artistic and creative interest of its subsidiaries, namely V-Star Entertainment Group, Cirque Dreams, Bloomin' Group, Works Entertainment, and other future entities. She also oversees the quality of all Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group shows currently in operation, in addition to maintaining a close relationship with the senior artistic directors of Cirque du Soleil shows. Finally, she's also in charge of overseeing the costume workshops, the casting and performance team, and all global innovation initiatives through Nexusy. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Diane Quinn.
I know everybody else stood, but I'm going to stand if that's okay with you. And if you would like to move forward, I'm so happy if you want to get a little closer. So first of all, thank you so much. Good afternoon, and very happy that members of the executive are here, and other faculty, students, of course, and staff, that you've taken the time out of your busy days. I know that especially as we get toward the spring, it's filled with getting ready for exams and all of the things that, that are important as we sort of get to the finish line of the academic year. It's really my privilege to be back at Ryerson. This place holds very great memories for me, especially at my time when I was working at the theater school a few years ago. And so to be back on campus is really a treat for me. And what it reminded me of was all of the incredible ingenuity that the students at the theater school had, and all of the innovation, all of the last-minute preparation that would go into putting the shows together during the academic season. And I think that same spirit of ingenuity, that same spirit of innovation and technical prowess and creative prowess really has now extended through, albeit on a slightly larger scale, at Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group. So very happy to be able to continue that innovation now as I get to come back to Ryerson today. Through Nextasy, the creative lab at Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group, as well as our affiliate companies that Louis Etienne was just mentioning, we're really pleased today to be able to announce this partnership with Ryerson University. And the generation of Folie really excites us because of all of the possibilities that we know will happen over the coming weeks, months, and years. And I've always said to the team that I work with, and they're here today and I want to thank them, that creativity and building shows and building live entertainment experiences is a team sport. It is not something for the weak of heart, and it is not necessarily for individuals who think of themselves only as individuals. So when we collaborate with others, I feel that the opportunity for greatness is increased exponentially. So as we at Cirque du Soleil have become Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group, which has happened in their recent times, we now see ourselves as a real leader in live entertainments. We are in close to 70 countries worldwide. Today, on, what day is it today, Frank? Tuesday? Monday? We will be showing 22 shows tonight somewhere in the world, which is amazing. And the thing that's really important to remind ourselves is that the landscape continually changes. And that if we do not stay ahead of that landscape that changes, our art will not make sense to those people, and they will not want to come and see us. And Folie really allows us to explore to the future. So today we have, to date, 200 million spectators have seen our shows since our inception. We would like to see that number be 400 million, and with your help, we will be able to achieve this. So I'm extremely proud of the achievements of Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group, but again, it's really important that we stay connected. We stay connected to our creators as well as to our audiences. And as we are challenged today by this new live experiential entertainment, we look to you for your expertise and for your talent, and of course for your ideas as we continue to chart waters that need to be explored. We have been very fortunate at Cirque du Soleil for 35 years to be able to work with the best and the brightest creators, collaborative creators. We get to choose creators from over 52 countries. At last count, it was 52 countries. And what this means is that with today's announcement, we get to expand. We get to expand with those collaborators, those creative collaborators, with all of you. And to be able to work with faculty, with students, and potentially staff, we know that we will be able to exceed our expectations. So with Folie, we're going to really explore in 3 areas. And I'll just give you just a little highlight. Those 3 areas are stagecraft, experiences, and performance. If we talk about stagecraft, really it's about projects that are related to creation, production, and the staging process. And that could be anything from technology down to costumes, anything that would go into the creation and production of one of our live entertainment shows. Also experiences. with this new experience economy, it's now more important than ever that we really take a look at what is out there. How are our audiences reacting to our shows? But more importantly, what are audiences looking for in the future? How will our art today be able to also be reflective of what people are looking for tomorrow? And then finally, performance. Projects that are aimed at new types of human performance. And you saw some of my colleagues up here on screen. And while Cirque du Soleil is known for human performance, it's also known for many other things. And again, you can help build those relationships with us and for us. So as we approach Folie, we will approach it in the same way that we master our own creative process. The things that we're doing in Montreal, we would like to do with you all here in Toronto. And it means staying connected with others. It means working together, but it means staying ahead, one step ahead of everybody else who's in our live entertainment sphere. Also to continue our footprint and to have dedicated students and faculty members ask, but also help us answer questions that are very important to us, that really are challenging currently in the live entertainment sphere. And this will allow us to be surprised, but also to surprise, to delight, and probably more importantly, to challenge our audiences of the future. So with that, we look forward to this new partnership. We look forward to the first set of proposals that, as I understand it, Charles, we can actually go to a website today and we can put our proposals down on paper and have those submitted. I look forward to reading them. I look forward to hearing from all of you. And again, my deep, deep thanks for inviting us today. You want me to stay here? Great. Love that.
Just gonna play a little.
I'll get out of the way.
It's,
You might move.
yeah.
I will move.
The world is accelerating, and
Okay, so we're going to take the next 10-15 minutes to discuss. I have a few questions for you. I'll introduce my guest. Just realizing now that I forgot to introduce myself. Thanks, Charles, for introducing me. But my name is Louis-Étienne Dubois. I'm an assistant prof here in the School of Creative Industries. And I am the director of this new Folie lab. Charles talked a little bit about the name, what it means, and yes, there is this healthy madness to it, but it's also an acronym. It's a clever one. So it stands for Future of Live Entertainment, the LI, and it also stems from just the conversations that we were having in the sort of the build up to this lab, which has been slowly coming together for the last, I'd say, year and a half, really. And one of the collaborators here from Nextasy, Frank, was talking about this saying that they have at Cirque du Soleil, which is, "On a tous besoin d'un peu de folie." We all need a little bit of folie, right? And I think we can all relate to that. And in a way, we hope to bring that little bit of folie, this little bit of touch to AFCAD, to Ryerson at large, and to get some new collaborations that are very, very exciting. So that's my little piece. I'll introduce our two other guests on this panel. First is Jan Frédéric Pleschinski. Sorry. So he's president of Folie to see. Did I say it correctly?
No, yeah, perfect. You get that all the time.
It's easy to say, right?
Pleschinski. Yeah. So it's a subsidiary of Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group, specializing in lighting and special effects in the entertainment industry since July 2017. He's responsible for the corporate strategy and all the levels of implementation. So just for those of you who don't know For You to See, it specializes in creation and video production, scenographic design, all forms of multimedia experience in the entertainment industry, combining video, sound, lighting, and special effects. It's contributed to many Cirque du Soleil shows, such as Toruk, The First Flight, inspired from James Cameron's movie Avatar, Crystal, Cirque du Soleil's Breakthrough House experience in Hangzhou, scheduled to premiere in China in March. I mean, it's
in July.
Oh, in July. Sorry. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
And so left of Jan Frédéric is Richard Lackman, who's director of Zone Learning for Ryerson University, a network of 10 incubators across the university. He's also the director of CoLab, so I'm hoping he'll talk a little bit about that, and an associate professor here, digital media in the RTA School of Media at Ryerson University. He's a Gemini Award-winning producer, creative and technical consultant for new media project, primarily focused on entertainment and transmedia media properties. Richard holds a doctorate from UNE in Australia, a master's degree from the MIT Media Lab, and a computer science bachelor degree from MIT as well. Welcome. So I have a lot of questions, and when we've been talking about Folie and this future of live entertainment, I want to put you on the spot and ask you what, in your opinion, is the future of live entertainment, or if you have some sort of crystal ball, where are we going? What are you seeing out there that is exciting and that can give us a sense of where the sector is going?
You want to start?
Want me to start?
You start.
Sure. I mean, that's probably the one thing that keeps me up every night, not only me, but Frank and the other members of the team. For me, the one thing that will not change is the desire for people to commune together. And as much as people are talking about AR and VR and all of that, until those experiences allow us to come together in some way, having that isolated experience, something is missing. So for me, the future is probably something that allows us to use that when it works and when it's right for the moment. But it really is about having a very collaborative experience. I still do think we will sit in dark spaces and be amazed by what happens on some structure, be it a stage or something else. But I believe it's going to continue to be a collaborative opportunity of people to come together to create. And I believe that it will be a collaborative audience experience as well. How it's delivered, Where it is delivered, I think that's yet to be seen, but I do believe very strongly that we need to feel someone sitting next to us, feeling their body move, laughing, crying, whatever the emotion is. To me, that's what will stay.
And will it be someone sitting next to you? I mean, it's interesting to see that even in such a creative setting as this one, we come up with a format where we're sitting in front of you, all lined up, chairs that are on wheels, and we could actually ask you just to move and do something completely different, and yet we're not, because I guess it's the easiest and most efficient way we found to have those types of meetings, and we're focusing on the fact that someone will deliver a message, and I guess we'll focus on that. But is it how we're going to enjoy entertainment over the next few years? Doubtly so. So please move around. Your own wheels, you can move around. That's disruptive. That's exactly part of what we are. But all jokes aside, the truth is, I think it's going to be enjoyed differently. I think that right now there's a lot in terms of the offer, in terms of like where it's coming from, and it's multidisciplinary, and I think it's a bit overwhelming. It's interesting. There's a bit of a hit and miss, and it's part of what it is as well. I think we need to find more of a sense of purpose than what there is right now in the offering. Although even on the tech side or low tech side or whatever, no matter how you are approaching creativity and the way to tell a story, those are all means to tell a story. So at the very core of it, you know, black and white silent movies used to be great if the script was awesome. It's still true for any types of entertainment, right? So if we are adding layers and projection and fantastic sound design and lasers and excitement through the stage design and getting a crowd that participates, and why are we doing it? And I think that what will make a big difference over time in the way we are consuming that entertainment and how we are delivering memorable moments and experiences is through that sense of purpose.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree. I mean, even though we are in still growth of screen-based media, we still have the golden age of television. We also see this parallel that we're hungry for these live personal experiences. We have, I can draw dotted lines between escape rooms, Comic-Con and cosplay, to places like Meow Wolf, Burning Man Festival, Instagram museums. There's a grown-up playroom that just opened near here. We're hungry for things we do that connect us to one another. And when we look at doing this, the trick is not just in the technology. It's not a technology. When we look at VR or AR, these other things, the technology is around. But if I think of the same way that when Steve Jobs went around and stole technology from a bunch of other people who'd invented it to put it together in one creative, well-designed package, that led to an explosion. And where we are is in the design element of the putting these things together, taking them from labs, taking them from ideas, as Ellie was saying in the video, that people have been working on lots of technologies, but there's a magic in putting it together into a human experience. That's where we can do this innovation. And I will mention, the word innovation gets thrown around a lot. And innovation has some dictionary definitions. One of the definitions, it doesn't mean invention. Innovation doesn't mean just coming up with something new. It actually means taking something new and bringing it to the world. So if it's a product, it means getting it to market. If it's a research in the lab, it means getting it in front of people. That's where I feel that this kind of partnership can really bring things, understanding audiences and people, not just invention, but really getting it to people.
So, we heard that in the video as well. Just sometimes we have this very exciting research happening at FGAD, and researchers not aware of some industry applications or designing for one specific industry application in mind, and yet just not seeing that there's many other ways that we can play with this technology. And I say technology. It could also be a performance. It could also be an exciting process that we could use about that we could go about creating a new act. So we're here today to talk about, to launch this partnership. Why is it important for, I guess, industry and academia to collaborate, but more specifically, why is this partnership that we're announcing today exciting, and why is it exciting now?
Rich, do you want to start?
I mean, it's exciting because so a lot of the researchers who are here and graduate students in the room know that when we speak to, say, government funding entities, we spend a lot of time saying what we do here at Ryerson is unique. And it's because it really is piecing together lots of things that are separately funded. It's engineering, and it's understanding audiences, and it's true creativity and performance, the fine art side of this, as well as the commercial side of this. And those are all separate groups in most other institutions, and they're separate groups in government. And we know that we stitch them together because that's how you really make something exciting in this modern piece. Whenever we get to a room with Cirque du Soleil's collaborators, it's like finding your long-lost brother. There's so many ideas that get generated, and we understand one another's language in that approach, that we don't have to convince each other this is a good idea. It's evident it's a good idea, and we just have to line up which one do we do first, because there's so many wonderful ideas. That's what I'm excited about.
It's funny, like we partner, I mean, it's not a surprise, we partner, of course, with many organizations, many institutions. The thing that I felt unique about this particular partnership is when I understood all that FCAD was, all of the areas that we could touch under one roof. I've not seen that anywhere before. It doesn't matter if you're talking about, you know, other institutions, academic institutions, no matter where they are in the world. I feel that there's something here that others will be grasping onto that you found, you've made happen. Innovative, to use Richard's, you know, bringing to market. And from some part of me, it was a no-brainer because there was a fluidity about it, an easiness about it. And it was very easy to say yes, and it only took a little while, right, Charles? I don't know. Yesterday. It was just yesterday.
Sure. Yeah, Folie.
Why now? On top of what's been said, I think that there's a couple of things. I think that landscape is changing and it's coming left and right, like we've mentioned before, in terms of what's competing against like the offer and how you differentiate that offer. And from an innovation standpoint, or even from an R&D standpoint, one thing that is very exciting to mix those two worlds that are natural but that need to talk to each other more is the fact that time is one of the most precious things that we have, and it's a very scarce and rare resource when you are going way too fast at the corporate level, and you are operation driven and product driven, and you've got a show coming, and you are result driven. And if you have a challenge and you need to solve it, you need to find a recipe for that act. And it's innovation. I guess you're bringing it to the market, but it's an obligation of result. And it's not necessarily how you want to do the R&D in order to think. Not like looking at the tree, but like backing a bit and seeing the whole forest and thinking, well, if we want to be disruptive and rethink this so that we come up with something completely different or explore something that we haven't been and that we are even scared of going, we need that space. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity to be able to do it with the researchers, but also the students and all the academic body. I think it's just wonderful, and it's crucial now. With what's happening in their entertainment world.
I was reading just in HBR, I guess, oh gosh, it seemed like 3 months ago, but it was probably a year ago, about how creativity needs time. And I really do believe that that is the case. And when you look and you're in a commercial environment, which obviously Cirque du Soleil Entertainment Group is a commercial environment, you know, time is money, creativity is money, and we just need more time. We all, as creatives, need more time. So the ability to kind of share that with others, so we can all share the workload in some ways, or share the creativity load, maybe is a better way of putting it, is such an amazing opportunity for us. And I don't know, you know, what your day looks like, or what your day looks like, Richard, but it's packed with too many things. And we need to find other ways of sharing that creative load.
Richard is a busy guy. He's walking really fast all the time. So we heard Frank talk about this in the video. Richard, you mentioned it again. Too many things, too many options, too many exciting possibilities. If you had to pick one, if you had to get started tomorrow, what would you want to do?
Yeah, well, that's interesting. It's a few things on approach. So I guess this is strategy. I would start us working on a few small things that we can do immediately while we're getting to know each other. Because, frankly, this is an issue with any large-scale initiative. You can spend all your time doing the large and structure, and I find best way to get to know each other. We'll start some small things immediately while we're building behind these larger, bigger views. I don't know, we came up with ideas just today. There was a fascinating idea. We were talking about real-time music. So if you don't mind, I don't know, am I giving this idea away? If anyone takes it down, get it posted to us. The website is open. It's just because it came out of the meeting. If you have musicians, so if you're playing recorded music with a live performer, and the live performer makes a mistake or a little tiny glitch or a pause, the recorded music can't pay attention to it. So you need live musicians, of course. But with tracking and AI, maybe you can real-time monitor the timing of things where people are supposed to be at a time and then alter the music on the fly, algorithmic music. And I was just thinking that video games do this already. Video games do algorithmic music generation because they're responding in a set of structures, in a set of parameters you've given it, but they need to respond to what you're doing because it's in your user control. So can you draw a dotted line between real-time monitoring of performers through fast video tracking, through computer vision, map that to some parametric design and generate music? That's interesting. We already could start doing searches in Google Scholar and find out what's there. That's just, I don't know if that's the first one. It's one that just came up.
So Jan-Frédéric, we've been touring your team, going from robots and how they could perform with humans. We have exciting research here happening on other types of experiences that involve other senses, right? Just to go with the holistic experience. There's a lot happening. If you had to get started on one project, what would you want to do first?
And I'm looking at some of the creative directors and producers, and they're like, is it my project?
I know, they're chomping at the bit, like they're leaning in.
Did you sense that pressure? So I won't look at them. There's so many things. I think that one thing that we haven't been cracking, any one of us yet has been cracking the way I think we will definitely need to crack and will crack, is a higher interaction, a crowd interaction that in real time, without having to deal with bracelets or phones or applications or things that would trigger what's happening, but more of a mapping of various indicators, and it will deliver and contribute to the experience on stage. It's something that requires a lot of work, and some people have been trying to crack that for quite a while now, and it's not what it should be, and it's not what it will be, but it's definitely something interesting that will change the way we are actually experiencing what we're doing in various formats. So that's certainly one.
Diane, your background is theater, performance. You oversee casting and performance as well. Is there something on your radar that you would want to do here that is perhaps a little less techy, that has to do with pushing the boundaries of acting, of dancing,
there are lots of things. Two that sort of come to mind. One is in the actual casting of individuals. Casting for anyone who's either been in an audition or has been sitting behind an audition table. It's very labor intensive. You need to be in the room to really get it. You need to be in the room, you need to get the interaction, you need to kind of feel whatever is that magic that a performer is bringing. And then what happens to many actors and dancers, and you hear nothing. It's the 1% or the 2% that get called. So I would love to find a better way for that database, I hate that, that repository of all of these people who haven't been called back. What's a better way of being able to see them more frequently, to be able to really get a sense of what that performance was like live, even if you can't be there? You can imagine we have a huge database of, well, you name it, there's someone in the database doing it. And yet I just feel like maybe somewhere we need to mine part of that database that hasn't been mined properly, and there's probably a beautiful performer somewhere that we've overlooked for maybe many reasons, maybe no good reason. So I'd love to be able to explore that a bit, and I know that that is technology. And the other thing is, people come to me and to Frank, and by the way, Frank was in the video, and Frank's here for those of you who maybe haven't seen him. he and Gabrielle doing a great job putting this together, so thank you. So the other thing that people come to me all the time with these amazing ideas. You know, I've got an idea for a show, I've got an idea for a show. Happens all the time, happens to many of us. I'm sure, and, you know, even Jan Fredrik was in my office and showed me a great idea with a designer. But what happens a lot of times, we can't find a way to make the numbers work. The pure bottom line sense of it, and I hate talking about numbers, but sometimes you have to. We often talk about, well, what's the throughput? How many people can we get through that experience over the course of a couple of hours or a day to make the numbers work? I would love for that to not be an issue. You know, what's the way to make a 2-on-1 experience amazing, or a 20-on-1 experience, you know, amazing, or a 20 to 20, whatever. We can't make those numbers work right now. If we're not talking 800 people or more, can't make it work. So I would love for someone to show me a new way.
And I'm glad you bring those points up, because, I mean, FCAD is very diverse, right, with all sorts of background. I'm HR and management, so a lot of the questions that you just brought resonate. So do we have, I see Maria at the back, do we have time for like a few questions? I want to open it up to the audience. Very diverse. I'm seeing students, I'm seeing faculty, staff, and some guests from the community as well. So I want to open up the floor to maybe just a few questions for any of our panelists. I have a mic here. So who has a question?
Nobody ever wants to go first. Oh, yes, thank you.
Have one. Thanks so much.
Hello, thank you very much. Hi, my name is Mo. I'm a professor at the School of Professional Communication. So I have a quick question. So far, you guys talked about some ideas about how to use research developed in academia and apply them for your shows. I wonder if you guys are open for becoming subject for research for scholars at Ryerson.
We have done that. It was many, many years ago. There was a Harvard Business Review study that was done, a business case that was done, oh God, no, someone help me, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. They've come back to us more recently and asked if we would do another business case. Yes, I think if the subject was interesting for both parties, the parameters were interesting for everyone, I think we would be up for it again, yes. The company has shifted so dramatically since that case study was done. It's probably time for another one.
How are you handling intellectual property for innovation, for things that come out of this?
Very good question, very carefully. We were not interested in open innovation even a couple of years ago. We are going to a more open innovation model. Of course, the trick with that is how do you deal with someone's intellectual property and how do you manage that? For us, it's really been a case-by-case situation. How has the intellectual property been manifested? Has it been done in a group? Has it been done on company time? Does it come from the outside? And obviously, if it comes from the outside, then it becomes part of intellectual property case study, you know, and we use our teams to make sure that people retain their own intellectual property.
And in this environment, under Folie?
Frank, have you talked about that?
Yeah, I mean, we can discuss, but basically, it's I think it depends on the setup because there's different ways we can work. So we can work through grants, through government programs. We can work separately. So depending on how whichever project is going to come together, we can have different arrangements. So we're open to many different scenarios, actually.
Yeah, I think Frank mentioned it. So it's more of a, so sometimes it could be coming with an idea or coming with something that they want to develop, in which case they would retain it. The traditional model is that the researchers retain property and grant the organization a sort of an unlimited license to use it. So that's the model. But yeah, I want to get too technical.
I'm just thinking about impact on industry. So if you want to go beyond, there's one relationship, which wants to come with a certain amount of innovation, how do you allow that innovation to spill out into the greater industry, yet balance the conversation? That's one.
And I think that there are a lot of models we're talking about because there are a lot of different ways we're planning on doing this. So even just today, again, in conversation, we're saying, you know, the thought of doing a symposium or a convention, conference for the live entertainment industry, because apparently there isn't one. So if we can be the home for one, that's a lot of, you know, the co-opetition model, that there are a lot of people who are maybe in the same space, they don't normally do things together, but they are willing to come together at a neutral ground like a university and share some of those ideas. There may be others that are specifically funded research and we negotiate the intellectual property. The great thing about Ryerson is we have a lot more flexibility than a lot of institutions because we have an inventor-owned policy here. In a lot of other institutions, the university owns everything, and that's the default, and then licenses are granted, whereas here it's inventor-owned, and then negotiations happen at that point, which gives us, so it'll depend on the funding.
All right.
I'm interested in, and while Louis Etienne is getting that question, we deal with this on an artist level quite frequently. So I'm a clown, and I have an act, and then Cirque licenses that act for a show, but they might also, that clown might also license that act or do it himself somewhere else in the world. So that obviously is one model. And then we're dealing now, which we didn't used to do, but we're also dealing with other people's intellectual property. The Beatles, when we did a show on Elvis Presley, with Michael Jackson, with Toruk that you mentioned earlier. So each one we deal with in a very specific way. It really is, each one becomes quite unique. Not quite unique, unique.
So in terms of success moving forward, how are you measuring what success is? What are each expectations of the relationship so that while we're working on things with you, we can make sure that we're meeting those expectations as well, and vice versa? And also congratulations on this partnership.
Wow, that's a tough question, because how do you manage? I mean,
for me, it's success is something that ends up going currently on the stage or is seen by our audiences. That would be my immediate goal.
End result of innovation, the way you've defined it.
Yeah, exactly. If we're talking about analytics, statistics, analysis, it would be that we see the benefit of that, reaching out to a different audience, being able to understand the preference of a certain audience that perhaps we haven't currently reached. But for me, everything is the manifestation of people seeing that work.
And the learning curve as well. I mean, I wouldn't have any issue knowing that we go at the end of a road and it's a dead end. Now we know that that's not the path, and that's part of what it should be as well. And we need that room for trial and errors and mistakes. At the same time, the other part of the stats or what would be successful, it's maybe what we're not measuring. There's so many things that we should probably pay attention to, and that I think we can collectively think differently and approach it differently, so that it will affect how we're measuring success, even of our own current shows, and how they should evolve, and how are we measuring or thinking not through a box, but outside of it for new experience design and what it is.
So Laura, I want to chime in here. As from the director perspective, I would measure success obviously by the number of people that we're getting involved in this thing, number of students, just to make sure that it's growing, and also where they're coming from, right? The more schools at FCAD, and perhaps at some point outside of FCAD as well, the better, I would say, as well as faculty. So as many faculty member, staff as possible. I'm very much interested in the human side of things. I think it's a unique partnership in the sense that it's very much a collaboration, not just some organization investing some money and then checking in a year after. The idea behind this partnership is that we're going to get the same, the AFCAD people and the Cirque people, Cirque Entertainment Group people in the same room, around the same objectives, pushing the same boundaries, and that's what I'm after. So in terms of success stories or success metrics, to me it's going to come down to a head count in a way, qualitative, quantitative, but also just the number of projects and seeing this model grow. So I'll wrap this up. Our panelists will be around to answer some more questions. I invite you to stick around as well, just spend some time with us. We do have some refreshments, light snacks, and again, if you want to chat, see how you can get involved. You will be seeing some communications about it. If you are a faculty member, I invite you to visit ryerson.ca/Folie, where you will see the call for submissions in the 3 areas. Again, I want to remind you what those areas are. Diane mentioned them, but performance, stagecraft, and experiences. The call for submissions is up until May 15th. It's not too complex. We'll work with you, but again, we'll look forward to seeing what you want to do. Get involved, grad students, undergrad students, and faculty members as well. So let's get, it's ryerson.ca/Folie. Yes. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone.